Good day. As you know, I am Kaylin, and today's training session is on the discipline screen in the HR functionality. So in our HR overview video, I mentioned that you need to have the HR module enabled in order for you to see the, the HR functions. And then also you need to make sure that those features are enabled. If you need to go and enable a certain feature, you can simply go to the Jumpstart menu and you'll see that there's a HR button there. The first step is select your resources to use, and there you can go and specify which HR functionality you want. So today we're going to be working on the discipline section, so I'm going to show you how that works. If you do need to go set up any default allocations or lookups, you can do the second step there. So it says enter classifications. If you go on there, you'll see now in this case we're going to be working with a discipline screen. So you can go and set up certain offenses that do happen regularly that you don't need to go and type it in manually every time. If you need to add any of these classifications, you can simply click on the add button, put in the description of whichever field you've chosen there, put in the description for that. If you do want to put any comments so that you can put that in as well. And then you have those ones added, and you've got your actions as well. And then obviously, according to whichever HR functionality you specifically looking at, perhaps you can go and put in bank codes that are there that you can just select, perhaps a language that you want to set up, or then any equipment conditions as well, you can set it up. Okay, so let's go to our discipline section and we can explain that. So if you want to go and add a discipline record, simply click on add. It's pretty easy there, and we need to now fill in this information. So your data is pretty straightforward. The employee that you have selected, so this would obviously be the employee that you have actually issued that disciplinary hearing for. So what I'm going to do actually, I'm on Melanie, so let's just say this guy is got a verbal warning and I want to keep track of this. So I'm going to click on add. We've got our employee selected there. You can then, if you have pre-populated certain offenses, you can simply use the lookup button and you can go and select that. If you do need to go and add, you're in this window and you see that there is still something that you need to go and add in, you can simply right-click, click on add, and it'll bring you to the same menu that we saw, same window that we saw before, that you can fill in a description and that. Okay, so I'm just going to say this is a later arrival. I'm going to select that one. You can then go and select an action code. So I'm going to give this guy a verbal warning for being late continuously. You can also then go and specify who, was this decision made by. So I'm just going to say it was made by Melanie. And then if there are any witnesses, you can go and specify the names of those witnesses, up to 2 witnesses. You can then also go and specify whether there is a hearing, whether it's pending or completed, and keep track of that. And then also if there is a document that you need to link to, so perhaps it was a written warning that this guy got, then you can obviously go and link the document that's that verbal warning. Just keep a record of that in here. If we go to the details tab, so there you can go and specify some details of this disciplinary record as well. If you want to specify, perhaps then, let's say it was a written warning and you want to go and detail the information of that, and what was the results and some extra information there. You'll obviously see that there is a outcome section as well. So specifically there you can go and specify what the outcome was. Let's say there was a hearing for this guy, and you put in the details of the hearing, what all happened during that hearing, and the things that you want to keep track of, obviously. And then also you can come and specify what was the outcome of that hearing once it was completed. Now there's also another section. As I mentioned in the HR video, you can go and specify custom fields as well that you want to. Now those get set up in your configuration module under your server settings, that you can go and the features section that you can go and specify. In this case, I have gone and set up a yearing date, because even though there is, under the general tab, there is a yearing status which says either it's pending or completed. There's perhaps, if it has been completed or whatever, there's no date for me to specify that. So I have gone and created a custom field. And in this one, I can obviously go and say, okay, yes, the yearing date was perhaps or will be on the 30th of July, for argument's sake. So you can go and set up, I think it's up to 5 custom fields. You can go and configure there. Okay, so we've got all our details here. If we click on OK, we've got our disciplinary record there, and we can keep track of what's going on. I mean, obviously, if this guy is getting continuous warnings for late arrival, next time it's obviously not going to be a verbal warning, it might be a written warning, and there you can keep track, also the dates, between those warnings, because I know that there's a period that obviously those warnings, if he hasn't had the same issue again within a certain amount of months, then this first one would basically expire. Okay, so you can go and keep a track of that. It's not a difficult screen, and difficult to add any disciplinary records there. It's a nice feature in the terms that you can keep track of what's going on here. And like I say, it's not always possible for you to be able to keep track of, who done what when and what was the time, unless you've got to have some sort of record of it. And this is a nice place to keep record of it because everything is in one place. You've got your time and attendance here, you're doing your payroll in here. Why not keep then your disciplinary records in here as well? And that's that. Quite easy. Next time, in the next video, we'll be doing the equipment window. So I'll show you how you can issue equipment and then obviously receive that back. Make sure that that equipment has actually been received back and in what condition it is be. So please join me next time. Goodbye.